All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. How are we doing tonight? Thank you for coming and welcome. We're going to get started. I know we're a few minutes late. There still were people coming in, so I felt that it was appropriate to hold off a few minutes. We're going to do the best that we can to get you in and out to department chairs, guidance, gifted, some other pieces around. Hopefully you got the yellow form coming in. It looks like most of you did. That gives you a little bit of information about who's out there and in the caverns of the concourse and F44 where gifted services will be. So the intention of tonight, and first off, this is for incoming junior and senior parents. So if you have a current freshman, you want to be in the auditorium. But the intention of tonight in here in the Audion is to speak about the course selection process, some of the new changes to the program of studies, but more importantly, to answer some of your questions. At the end of this session here, I hope that we're done in about a half hour, but at the end of this session here, we'll entertain any general questions that you might have. If you have real specific questions to your son or daughter, we're going to ask that you save that for one of us up here at the end after we open it up general questions when people are exiting. If you have a specific question about your son or daughter, ask us specifically so that we're not wasting the time of some other people, okay? I want to respect your time and everybody else in here, okay? If at any time you feel the need that hey, this isn't for me, or I got a younger child and I want to see what's going on in the auditorium, or heck, I just want to talk to the phys ed department chair or art department chair, feel free to quietly just walk out and rove around as you see fit, okay? So you're not locked into here, you're not disrespecting anybody up here if you take off. All right, so the intention of tonight is to go through some of the changes and highlight some of the pieces of the course selection process, the timeline, and ultimately answer any questions for you. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get started. We have some counselors here who are going to present to you as well. We actually, since she's just coming in, to my right on the left-hand side here is Miss Sarah Radigan. She's going to be one of our new assistant principals. She's going to start with us in March. We have a little round of applause for Miss Radigan. And if you are unfamiliar, we actually have another new face coming in. Over here is Miss Donna Dome, and she joined us in the beginning of this month in January, replacing Mrs. Turner. She's currently in the sophomore home office. So, a round of applause. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome, as I said. The timeline, and you should have received the email blast over the weekend and subsequently another one on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was Monday, just reminding you of some of the pieces. This week we had parent forum Monday night. We have the course selection night, or course information night tonight, as you all know, you're here. But the course selection window is currently open, and hopefully you've at least started conversations with your son or daughter about course selection, what they're thinking about taking, looked at the program of studies. All of that's live online, and we'll get you to the website a little bit later. We'll show you how to get there if you haven't already gone on to take a look at the program of study and some of the videos and the course selection documents. We'll get you to that point later on in the presentation here. But the window to do that is February 5th. So that's when your son or daughter, or you with them, can go into HACC and actually sign up for courses for next year, for the 2017-18 school year. So you'll see. Okay, so with that, yeah, a little bit of confusion. So we're extending it into the 5th. So if you did see February 3rd, that was the original date, but then we said, hey, why don't we just extend it to, it's no skin off our back if we extend it into Sunday and gives you that weekend. So if you saw February 3rd and stuck to that, it wouldn't change anything, but we figured we'd just extend it out. Thank you for clarifying that. But to that end, the window is open through the 5th. That's a Sunday, the first Sunday in February. After that point, counselors are going to be meeting with every single student. So if you have a current sophomore who's going to be a junior, they're going to be meeting with one of the sophomore home office counselors, and those counselors stay with the students next year and then the year after. And likewise, if your child is a current junior, they're going to meet with the counselors in the junior home office, their specific counselor in the junior home office, and then from there, they will stick with that class their senior year. Okay? But that's going to take place February, March, April. Sometime in there, counselors have 300 to 350 students that they have to get to. They're going to get them passes and get them down to the office, have a conversation with them about credits, what that looks like, what they need to take, their interests, so on and so forth. Okay? The deadline for all student-initiated course level changes is Friday, May 5th. If you have a calendar on your phone, please put that in. We want to stick to that. We want to adhere to that. Obviously, there are staffing implications, excuse me, and other pieces tied to that date. All right, so that allows us to cut things off for the most part within reason, and then take a look at staffing and what we need to do scheduling-wise and where we're going to place courses. All right, so May 5th, Friday, May 5th, last day for student-initiated changes. Right up here, a little bit of some leveling philosophy. This is just a guideline. This is just a post marker, something to consider as your son or daughter is thinking about moving up, or heck, maybe moving down in course leveling. We ultimately want to see students challenge themselves and push themselves a little bit further. We know when they get to college, they're going to be pushed further than whatever they push themselves to here. So we want them to challenge themselves. So if your son or daughter has an A or an A+ in a class, we want them to consider challenging themselves and moving up. You know, assuming that they have the prerequisites to get into that next course, that next step, we want them to consider making that move. If they have a B+ or a B, once again, consider it. It might take a little bit more time to think about that, a little bit more conversation with your child, but ultimately we certainly want that to be a consideration as well, okay? If your son or daughter is in the C range, not saying that they can't, one of the things that we changed last year was we opened it up where teacher recommendations are just recommendations. They're suggestions. Your son or daughter and you as a family, you guys are going to decide whether your son or daughter is going to take that, go from a 5.0 class or a 6.0 class within reason. Again, if they meet prerequisites. But if they're in that C range, we're suggesting a hold, although if you want, or we don't know all the circumstances of your son or daughter. We don't know what went on this year. We don't know if there were medical issues. So if they want to challenge themselves, they could. We just would have you go through the override process in that case, okay? But overall, our goal is that upward mobility, where students are challenging themselves, and we're helping them get to their ultimate goal, you know, which is college, post-secondary plans of you know, any proportions. Just as a heads up, high school, there is no 4.0 level math, all right, but there is in English, social studies, and science. Some of the new things that are coming down the pike this year. The first one I draw your attention to is AP Research. So if you were here last year, you probably heard us talk about AP Capstone. As of last year, and I don't know what the numbers are this year, but as of last year, we were one of 5 districts in the state to take on AP Capstone as a program where students come in and take AP Seminar as part 1, let's say, and then AP Research as part 2. Being that last year was the first year that we were offering the AP Capstone program, this is the first year that we are offering the AP Research because it's the part 2 of that program. So the research part, even though we knew it was coming, and that was part of what we signed up for, this is the first year that it's offered. So your child would have had to have signed up and taken AP Seminar first. AP Government, we've always had AP Government, but it's split for the first time. So in the past, it was 2 courses rolled up in one. So students typically, if they were going to take the AP test, would take the AP Comparative Test and the AP US Government Test as well, or they'd pick one or the other. But it was 2 curriculums packed in a year. So what we've done is we've separated it out. So if they take AP US, it's a full-year course. They take the AP US test at the end of the year. Or likewise, if they're doing AP Comparative Government, they would take that for the entire year, unrelated to US. It wouldn't be central or centric to US government. All right, so we've split that out. It's 2 separate courses. And then the last 2, AP Japanese, that's new. We didn't have that in the past. And Career Apprenticeship Program, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I will 2 slides from now, so if you can hold tight. That's another new piece that we're offering in the summer of this year and then moving forward. So I'll explain that in a moment. Some new course levels, so not necessarily new courses, but we're seeing some courses go from 4.0 credit to 5.0, 5.0 to 6.0, 6.0 to AP. All right, so the engineering courses, for the first time, are being offered as 6.0 credit courses. All right, in the past, right now, students, if you have a child who's in any of the engineering courses right now, they're just 5.0, but we're moving those to 6.0. And for Digital Photo 3, which is the current course this year, or the course title, that's now going to be called AP Two-Dimensional Design Photo. What was happening was we were offering a course, but entitled Digital Photo 3, but the curriculum was the AP curriculum. We're very close. So the art teachers and curriculum supervisor said, why don't we bump that up to AP Two-Dimensional Design? It makes sense. That student who's in there typically is at that level. Set them up for greater success in college. Sculpture, Digital Photo 1 and Digital Photo 2, there are 3 different courses there. That's not one big long title. They're going from the 4.0 level to the 5.0 level. And then Allied Health and Technology, which is offered at North Monco, that's now 6.0. All right, so there's some of the level changes that we're seeing this year. Okay? Career apprenticeship, I mentioned that I'd come back to this. This is something brand new to the district. It's only for seniors, so if you are the parent of a current sophomore, this wouldn't apply to you this year, but it potentially does the following year. This is beginning this summer, and it would be exclusive to this summer. And students are going to have off-campus, hands-on experience exploring interests that they want to look at, potential career opportunities, maybe shadowing in a hospital, but their opportunity to go out to get some real experience, and we'll help them get set up with that, but also attain some credit here as well. That would be done over the summer. 40 hours would be half a credit. So with that, at the end, they would do a written report and some sort of oral defense or oral summation about what it was that they did over the summer. Okay? If you have further questions, I put at the bottom there Mr. Calamia's contact information. So if you have a pen handy, if you think that's something that your son or daughter might be interested in, Calamids, C-A-L-A-M-I-D-S @npenn.org. I'm not sure if you can see that or not with the podium here. All right, so that's the Career Apprenticeship Program. If you have questions, make sure you email that name there. I don't believe he's here this evening, correct? All right, very good. He is not. All right, so at this time, I'm going to pass it over to... Oh, yeah, that wasn't up there? It was up there. Okay. One of the stipulations, I'm sorry, I skipped over. One of the stipulations with the career apprenticeship piece, I skipped over bullet 2. It has to be in a non-wage capacity, so they're not getting paid. All right, so it's not, oh yeah, I work at St. Luke's Hospital, and I'm just going to use that to obtain credit. It would have to be in a non-wage setting, and it's to be done under the supervision of a non-household member. All right, so if you own an accounting firm, your son or daughter can't come in and just obtain credit just by working with you or signing off one or the other for what they might do with you in the summer. All right, so it has to be a non-household member that is the supervisor and in a non-wage capacity. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to one of the junior counselors, Miss Elise Manalo.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here. My name is Elise Manalo. I am the counselor for last names A through G. And this evening, what I'm going to do is mention a little bit about Naviance. And for those of you that haven't heard what it is, it's kind of like your one-stop shopping, kind of like Target. You go from career exploration all the way to the actual college application process and the acceptance. For incoming juniors, your 11th graders, what we're expecting them to do are 3 different things. And some of them I was helping today during 9th period to do. They need to create an account. Once they get into the account, they're going to go into a portal called About Me. And it physically has tabs like file folders. So when you go to the 3rd folder and you click About Me, the next tab over shows Strengths Explorer. What it is about a 30 to 35 minute interest inventory that looks at specific skills and specific likes that the student has. Okay, and at the end of it, they will be given a listing of different careers they probably never even thought of. So this generates for them a longer list to examine, to discover, to explore. And in that process, they will look at the different training experiences that they need to have in order to enter that particular career. When they get to that point, it will show to them different colleges in the area, large or small or whatever, and then they can fine-tune it when they go down to our Career Center in K31. And then the next step in the same tab, they will be doing something called a resume builder. Most of you probably already know resume is a listing of all the experiences you've had, could be paid, unpaid, any type of clubs, any positions you've held in school, if you were in the school musical, or maybe you worked a part-time job that gave you some experience about something that gave you interest. So, and then the next step coming in as a senior would be the family connection. And usually the students who are at that point, They are now looking solidly at visiting particular colleges, either in the area or outside of it, and actually maybe having a meal there, etc. The incoming seniors also do the Strengths Explorer, the Resume Builder, but at this point we're hoping that all that is already done. And the beauty of the application process there is within Naviance, they can actually invite a particular teacher and ask them to view their resume online. And the teacher can actually create the letter recommendation and upload it into Naviance for all the colleges to view simultaneously. The next one I'm going to talk about is flexible scheduling options that we have for seniors. These are kind of like perks that you would get when you see kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel when you only have a few more credits that you have to achieve. NSP1, NSP8, fancy letters basically standing for no school period 1, meaning to say you don't have to be here first period. You can sleep in a little bit, maybe have an extended breakfast, you know, go see your grandmother, have breakfast with her, and then come to school second period. No school period 8, conversely, is at the end of the day. So the bell rings at 7th period, and you kind of like walk out into the parking lot as you watch everybody else going to 8th period class. You're pretty much done. You can do whatever you need to do. In order to qualify for those two things, the student has to have a minimum of 18 credits attempted and passed. They also have to have passed all their Keystones with at least a minimum of proficient, and basically be in good standing grade-wise. Concurrent enrollment, there's a parent meeting February 1st, but I'll briefly talk about that today. Concurrent, as the name suggests, they're enrolled in 2 places. They're here, but in addition, because now they have space on their schedule, they can always sign up for a college course. Could be at Penn State, Abington, Gwinnett Mercy, Montgomery County Community College, and they will earn college credit. What's the difference? The next one down is called dual enrollment. And as the name suggests, they're enrolled in 2 places, but in this case, they have a choice. They can take a college level course, either on site, right here at the high school, with a teacher who teaches here at the high school at a college level, and they can earn college credit and at the same time earn high school credit. So you're kind of double dipping. Or they can go off-site, provided they have their own transportation, and go to a neighboring college, drive up there, take the class, and then come back maybe in the afternoon. Some kids do first thing in the morning, drive to a local college, and then come back at some point to finish up the rest of their classes here. Career study is actually career exploration in the program of studies. And what that is shadowing. It is an unpaid position. What the student does is they go to a particular employer they might be interested in examining a career. For example, if there's, I'll just throw something out there, an architectural firm in the area and they want to be an architect perhaps, they shadow an architect for X number of hours. Could be as little as 2 periods, could be as long as 4 periods. But the essence of that is it's all just kind of like an internship. Work study is paid. So the student goes out there, looks for part-time employment, and basically they go through an application process, and they get the benefit of seeing what it is like to actually work day to day in a particular career they were interested in. Virtual high school is done here at the high school, and what that is you go to a classroom, you sign up for that class, you go to a classroom, you open up a laptop, and you're actually taking an online course with the supervision of a teacher in the room. That is for anyone who, just throwing something out there, you like English, you've taken all the English courses you always wanted to have, and now you're curious about screenwriting. And you discover when you look at the program of studies, it's not listed. But guess what? When you look at the virtual high school listing, you see screenwriting. So you go to your counselor on the course selection time that you have, and you sign up for that. There's an application process. You do have to be self-motivated because it's self-paced. Summer internship is kind of like career study. It's also career exploration. It's unpaid. The only difference is that it's during the summertime, so it's not really competing with any of your other classes. For juniors, the virtual high school is an available feature, so when they go into the program of studies and they want to take something that is not offered at the high school, they can sign up and apply. And up next, Mrs. Pike.
Thank you. My name is Mrs. Pike. I'm also one of the junior counselors. I have the end of the alphabet. I'm going to talk a little about North Monco. So for current 10th graders, they go over to the tech school in the morning. So once you hit a junior and senior year, you then shift to the afternoon. So you will have a 6-period lunch, and then you'll go over to the tech school for 7th and 8th period. You do earn the 2 credits for going to the tech school. And also, if you have any questions about specific programs over there, we have a representative, Rhonda Navicki, is here, and she will be in the concourse. Okay, so any specific questions, please bring to her. Any general questions we will answer at the end for tech school. Okay, so this is for any of your kids who are athletes, who are looking to participate at the collegiate level. So through the NCAA clearinghouse, you must register. You don't have to do that until you're a junior. So come September, if you're a junior, don't panic. It doesn't have to be done in September. But by the end of the first semester, we would like you to go on to the NCAA clearinghouse and register. And up there, you will see you have the website to do that. Anytime your child has a question about this, they can go see Mr. Brett in the College Career Center. He will be the one who we constantly are checking to make sure all your core courses that the students need to take to qualify to participate in Division I or II, that the core courses are, that they have completed all of those. There are 16 core courses that they need to complete. This is also in the Program of Studies on page 8. So if you have specific questions too, you can look in there because it gives you a list of what they need to take. So if it's English, social studies, math, science, and language, you're fine. So it's not a problem. But we will make sure that they are meeting the requirement for that. But it's important that you go on, you have to complete the registration. All right, so any questions at all at any time, please reach out to Mr. Brett and the College Career Center regarding NCAA. And the final one I want to talk to you about is AP, our advanced placement. We have 32 courses for the AP, so it's lots of opportunity for the students. We hear all the time, I don't know how many I should take, what should I do? I know this becomes very stressful at times. We do want students to be challenged. But the one thing I want you to think about for your child, you know your child the best. Your child knows their abilities. They sometimes want to keep going and taking more. I want you to make sure that they find their balance. We want them to be able to maintain their activities and be involved in sports, all different, anything they like to do. So what you need to do is determine how many APs should I really be taking. That's for you to decide and for your child. We are here to support them in any way, but please, I want these kids to still be able to be kids and to be able to participate in activities and not feel overstressed because they're taking 6 APs. It's that finding that balance, and that is really important as these kids come up and to be a junior and a senior and being able to be well-rounded and applying for college. So yes, it is very rigorous at the AP. They will take the exams in May. And the coursework, for sure, it's college level. It's definitely rigorous. If your child is a 10th grader, hasn't taken an AP but is ready, we want them to do that. And the teachers will recommend it if they feel they can handle it. If they're taking honors right now and they're getting A's, then they probably are ready for that AP course. But just know, we want them to be happy and to be able to do other things besides stay home and constantly stressing out about, can I handle all of it? So just make sure that you're talking with them about that. It's rigorous, and we want them to be challenged, and we want them to take the APs. But I really want them to be able to participate in all their activities and not give up who they are because they have to take so many of them. These kids can do it. They're wonderful kids, and we are here to support them. But we really just want you to think about that because we do get a lot of calls about, can they take 4, can they take 5? We don't limit how many APs a student takes. We just want them to be well-rounded and happy young men and women, okay? So, question now? I'll answer it at the end. I'll be here. And next.
Hi, I'm Judy McGurman. I am one of the 10th grade counselors with the last names of A through G, so the beginning of the alphabet. Really looking up here, the counselors really will, again, I want to stress again, Mr. Muller mentioned in the beginning, we will be meeting with every single student on our caseload. So there's no need for your student to come down and request an appointment. We will be meeting with them starting when it opens up to us, which is on February 6th. So between February 6th and the end or middle of April, we will meet with everybody. But really on this slide up here, the magic number is at 23, which is at the bottom, that you need 23 credits to graduate from North Penn High School. And really everything else that is up here, we as the counselors will make sure that your student achieves those from 4 years of English, social studies, and then the math and the science are the variables that they can take 4 years of one and 3 of the others. Health, PE, again, we'll make sure that they have everything that they need as they grow with us here at North Penn. Really we're talking about 11th and 12th graders, that they need 11 credits to be an 11th grader. And really that is on the very low side, so that's the minimum number. Typically a student coming into 10th grade is going to have between 6.8 and 6.9 credits, providing they had a full schedule and that they passed everything. And the same thing going into coming from 10th into 11th too. So that number, as long as they're doing what they need to be doing here at North Penn, and again, that we work with the students to make sure they achieve that. So really 11 credits to be an 11th grader and 16.5 to be a 12th grader. But that's very easy to achieve, and we'll make sure that they get there. GPA. Class rank, I'll kind of talk about them together. That's one thing that as students are rising to be seniors, they are very concerned about. We do 2 different GPAs, and that a weighted and an unweighted. A weighted is basically taking into consideration any honors level or AP courses that they're weighted in a different way. And that is all completely spelled out on page 6 in the Program of Studies, that it will go through exactly how the GPA calculation for the weighted versus the unweighted. So the weighted is on a scale of a 6.0, and the unweighted is on a scale of a 4.0. So again, jump on the Program of Studies to look for the more specifics. And rank and the GPA is just based on your 5 majors. So as Mrs. Pike was saying, like that 6th AP class that you're taking to challenge or to bump up that GPA, it's not going to matter because the calculation is just based on 5 of your majors. The other thing here, just take a look at is the courses. Everything is ranked or weighted on just a 1 versus. Sometimes you get into like chemistry. Some of your AP courses are like ranked at or has like a 1.3, but everything else, everything is calculated on that with just that 1 value. The other thing that we stress to our 10th graders coming up, and we stress when we'll meet with them again this year, is 9th, 10th, and 11th grade are the really important years, and that's what by the time your student comes back to school as a senior, that GPA and that rank is going to be pretty set, and that is what is going to go out on the college transcript as they apply to colleges.
Okay, I told you 30 minutes, so I think I lied. I got about 5 minutes or less here. All right, so I'm going to breeze through certain pieces because I don't know that you need to hang on to every word at this point, but in case you aren't aware, there was a little bit of a change last year with Keystones. It is no longer a graduation requirement, at least right now. That could change this year, next year, years to come, but right now it is not. But remediation is still a state requirement. So if your son or daughter does not pass or is not proficient on the Keystone exam, we still are forced or compelled to offer remediation. So what that means is if they do not pass the Bio Keystone exam as a 10th grader, we would still have to offer selected topics, which is our remediation course for biology. Okay? There are summer opportunities that they could take where they could come in for a few weeks, get some remediation, take the Keystone test for a second time at the end of the summer, and that would serve as us giving them the remediation that the state requires, but wouldn't change their hopeful schedule that they want for the upcoming school year. Okay? So Keystone Summer Intervention is offered, for literature, bio, algebra 1. You would get that notification in July if your son or daughter qualifies for that, if they're going to take that summer remediation. Okay? If they can't, they can't, and they take the half-credit selected topics or go into an extended geometry class if it was algebra that they did not pass. But it's no longer required for us to give them a third and a fourth test. All we do anymore is give them that remediation and then give them that second test. If you wanted them to take a third one of the algebra, let's say, you would have to have them opt in to take that test. So that's just a slight change. Electronic course selection, obviously that's what you are already going through or will be after you leave here over the next few weeks. I'm going to show you a few slides in a moment about what that looks like. If you haven't noticed, if you haven't gone on the website, it does look different now as of the last month. So I'm seeing some heads nodding there. So obviously some of you have seen the layouts a little bit different. So I'll show you what that looks like, how to get there if you haven't already gotten to the course selection page. But keep in mind, February 5th is the deadline for your son or daughter to sign up for courses. If they don't, it just defaults to whatever the recommendations were from the teacher. All right, so we encourage you to have your son or daughter go in there, look it over with them, have a conversation, talk through all the things that we talked about tonight, caution them, challenge them, find that balance. Okay? Changes after February 5th are processed through the guidance counselor, as Mrs. McGarriman talked about. Every student will be seen and spoken to by a counselor, so that time will come. Make sure if students want to make a change after they speak with the counselor, let's say they have a conversation early April, make sure it happens before the magic date of May 5th. Okay? So keep that in mind. So if you go to the website, this is now what it looks like. It's different than what it looked like in November and December. So it's a recent change as of last month. This is what the website will look like. So you go to the high school page, go to the district, and then to the high school page. If you need to know, npen.org/domain/84, but I'm sure you all know how to get there. From here, you want to click on the Our School tab. If you notice, I put a box around the Our School tab. It'll take you to this landing page. You're going to go to the NPHS Course Selection page. We changed things around a little bit from last year. All the pertinent information that you need can be accessed on this page here. So you'll find most of it in the meat there. There's the hyperlinks, program of studies, all those things, but they're also on the side. There's a lot of videos you could take a look at in the course selection videos. Different departments have uploaded their videos of some of their unique offerings, if some of the ones that they want to promote, or also clarify some questions that they generally get. But if you want to see specifically in the program of studies, all right, I don't feel like looking through 67 pages of the program of studies to find the art offerings, just go straight to department and course offerings at the bottom there, and you would get the isolated art section, if that's what you want to look for after you click art or tech ed or engineering. Okay, so that's a quick, easy way to get to the 3 pages that's isolated for a specific department, going to the departments and course offerings. Okay, but all your options are there on the side. Last but not least, thank you for coming. We appreciate your time. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you didn't, hopefully you get something out of the concourse area. But questions for gifted services, that's in F44. That's the band room. So go to the end of the concourse, make a right, dead end into the band room. Department chairs, Air Force JROTC, and TCC representatives or department chairs are all outside. If you have general questions, feel free to stick around, and I want you to come up with the hardest questions that you have, because we're going to throw them to Mrs. Radigan and Mrs. Doan. Anyway, so if you want to go out into the caverns of the concourse, please, or hang around, and in a minute we'll open up general questions, and then we'll do some specific questions after most people leave, okay? Thank you for coming, though.